is that none of us have been remotely surprised about it. For the past 3 years, this party has warned that the actions of Mohammed bin Salman, first the architect of the Saudi policy on Yemen, and then, since his elevation as Crown Prince, doubling the rate of executions in his first 8 months, kidnapping and beating up the Prime Minister of Lebanon and forcing him to resign, jailing women activists and threatening to behead them, all of these have shown a man with no respect for the rule of law, no respect for international boundaries, and no tolerance for dissent, all of which spelt the end for Jamal Khashoggi. And of course, Madam Deputy Speaker, we have seen the Crown Prince's true face most vividly in his continuing campaign in Yemen, a strategy of blockade and bombardment which has killed thousands of civilians in airstrikes and put millions of children on the brink of starvation. And when we look back at his air campaign, the bombing of weddings and funerals and school buses, we have seen a repeated pattern played out. When major civilian casualties are reported, first they deny the reports are true, then they deny responsibility, and when the proof becomes incontrovertible, they then say it's all a terrible mistake. They blame rogue elements, they promise that they will be punished, and they say that it won't happen again until the next time when it does. Exactly the same pattern that we have seen here, which speaks of a Crown Prince who takes his allies for fools and relies on the fact that his lies will be believed, he will be exonerated, and that everyone will return to business as usual once the publicity has subsided. Not this time. Enough. It must not happen again. The government must wake up to the reality of who the Crown Prince really is. It has been just 7 months since the Prime Minister rolled out the red carpet for him in Chequers, fawned all over him and hailed him as a great reformer. How utterly foolish she looks now, as some of us predicted she would do. But the new Foreign Secretary has a chance to be different. And he has just said, as he did on Friday morning, that if these stories are true, there will be consequences for Britain's relationship with Riyadh. But I ask him, how much more confirmation does he need? It is time to move on from asking what happened in Istanbul and who gave the orders. We all know the answers. The question is, what will the consequences that he promised be? I have 3 immediate steps which I will ask him to consider. Firstly, use the Majinsky powers included in the sanctions bill to apply financial penalties on all individuals up to and including the Crown Prince himself who ordered and carried out this murder. Second, will he accept that UK arms sales for the use in Yemen must be suspended pending a comprehensive UN-led investigation into all alleged war crimes? And third, more than 2 years on since the UK presented its draft resolution to the UN demanding a ceasefire in Yemen, will the Foreign Secretary finally ignore the informal Saudi veto hanging over that resolution and at last submit it to the Security Council? 3 ways to show Saudi Arabia that there are consequences for their actions, 3 ways to end their impunity and persuade them to change their ways, and 3 ways to show this Crown Prince that we will no longer be played for fools. We have had enough.
Well, I thank the